Welcome along to the trial show, and it's good to be back on the trial show. Thanks to Olivia Cold for presenting the show last week while I was on an imposed suspension, imposed by you, Glenn Ingram.
Yeah. Well, someone had to take the fall, Ed. Jimmy Starr let us down and you took the blame, but great to be back with you and really looking forward to this weekend of racing. We've got a big weekend, a lot of meetings, and hopefully we can find a few winners for the punters at home.
Absolutely. You're feeling confident? Can we get some Easter egg money or some petrol money?
I think so. Petrol money at the very least. I mean, tough times at the moment for people out there, but hopefully there's some relief on the way in the next 30 minutes here on the trial show.
All right, we'll be doing our absolute best. Guess who's back? These are horses that have clearly got their fair share of ability that we welcome back in recent times to the jump outs and trials. Both horses I'm fascinated by. Options progressed quite well last preparation, from winning his maiden on the provincial circuit to taking out the superimpose. He's a colt. He's in the Godolphin blue with the orange cap. He's trained by Tony and Kelvin McAvoy. We haven't seen him since the Derby. This was his second jump out. There's always been a bit to like about Osipenko, who won this.
Yeah, there has, Ed. And look, Osipenko gets the blinkers back on, and we don't normally see Waller horses win trials. You can see he's out in front with the purple sleeves. Now, they were on a heavy track there. Options can handle the ground, but you can see it wasn't really pushed along down to the inside there in the Godolphin blue with the orange cap. And I think he's an exciting colt. I think he's going places, Ed. I don't think he's a stayer. I think we maybe found out a bit more about him at the end of last preparation, but over those middle distances, mild or middle distance, I think he'll be really effective this campaign.
OK, well, his biggest win did come over 1,800 metres, so smack bang in the middle of that sweet spot there. Zambardo's a horse who I have to say would have surprised a few people by running second to Via Sistina at the end of the Melbourne Cup Carnival last year. Overall, he's won 4 of his last 5. He's still only a 4-year-old. This was his first jump out back. I've been in touch with Michael Kent Jr., who's fantastic at passing on information and being open and transparent and approachable for people doing what we do, Glenn. Trials again next week. Sydney 1,400 metre race kickoff, then onto the Queensland Carnival.
Great. So it's a stable, the Price Kent stable don't mind jumping him out within 7 days. Like that's him last Monday. He'll come out and do another one next Monday, and then he'll be at the races shortly. So what we know about him, he doesn't like that sort of ground, Ed. He likes it firm, and he's a really good middle distance horse. He was on a rapid rise last campaign. And, he's going places. There'll be nice races in Queensland for him. OK, so you're saying that he likes it firm even though his best run to date was on a deteriorating track at Flemington behind the best at the time in Via Sistina? Yeah, well, I mean, possibly because of his racing style, he's quite positive and he likes to get somewhere near the lead. And, no, he does like firm tracks, no doubt about it. So I think a race like the Rough Habit Plate or something like that up in Queensland would suit him, 2,000 metres, perfect. OK. If you need a racing manager, Mick or Michael, you know who to ring here. Let's go to the next part of the show. These are horses that have caught your eye. To be specific, they are the eye catchers on the trial show. Who's this one named after? You're too vain. Yeah, this one's after you, Ed. Now, the eye catchers, sometimes we put in horses here that might be visually impressive but slow on the clock. So this can be a bit of a warning too. Okay. Not every horse that wins the trial is looking good, obviously. And You're Too Vain, look, he probably damaged his rating. He got up quickly. He's now up around a rating 74. He's won 4 or 5 starts. He was a little bit disappointing at the end of his last campaign, but perhaps an end of prep run before going to the paddock, Ed. And look, he was given a real searching gallop here. He's given a strong hit out. I believe he's going to the races on Monday.
He's accepted for Sandown. He's in the 6th race there. Yep,
so there is racing everywhere across Victoria this week. So there's no shortage of races for horses like this. And I think 1,000 metres, shoot start, benchmark 74. I think that's... I think they've found a good race for him.
All right, sounds like I know where your Easter money is going to be heading towards. Guns is the next horse we're going to have a look at here on the trial show. Can he break through and land a maiden this prep?
Well, you'd like to think so, Ed. My theory on this horse is he doesn't quite know where the finishing post is. Now, he's had 3 starts, but he's been close up. I wonder if they'll try blinkers this campaign, just something to sort of help him focus, because he looks good and he wins trials. There's no how he trials is how he races, but he doesn't quite finish off at the end of his races. So my theory is maybe a bit of headgear will help this horse, and I mean it's worth trying anyway. He's only had the 3 starts, so they might be reluctant to go there this early in his campaign, but he needs to win. He's got pretty good form around him, and he's certainly a good galloper. He'll give himself every chance.
Is he still a bit raw?
Possibly, yeah. So maybe that headgear would help him out with that.
Quiet Point looks like a nice filly to follow heading into the next part of the season. She's a Pakenham maiden winner, 3-year-old filly. She wasn't beaten far in the Thoroughbred Club Stakes last time out, so she hasn't raced since the spring. She's trained by Matt Laurie, who often has a number of nice progressive types. She could be one of those. Yeah,
she's one of 2 Matt Laurie horses that I thought trialled really well this week at the Heath course. And Quiet Point, as you say, 1,000 metres. I think she's a typical Blue Point, Ed. Just 1,000 metres, keep her to that, maybe 1,100. But I think she's quite progressive. If she can get into something a little bit easier to start the campaign, she can get a bit of confidence up and pick up a win. I thought she was holding these horses pretty easily in the jump out, and she ran pretty good time. So I think Quiet Point can resume on a winning note for Matt Laurie.
All right, that is Quiet Point. Clearly a progressive type and won quite comfortably in that heat at Caulfield on the Heath track. Let's go to Crest to Crystal next of all. Another 3-year-old filly. This one's made its way over to the Pat Carey and Harris Walker stable.
Was with Craig Weeding, Ed, and I think this stable sort of has a bit of a connection. There has been a couple of horses, I think, go from Craig Weeding to the Harris Walker camp. And look, it was a lovely eye-catching trial just because it was in behind here and really could have gone past these horses up front. It was absolutely bolting. It's had a couple of starts, hasn't been able to break its maiden, but just maybe a change of scenery here down here at Mornington with Pat Carey and Harris Walker might be able to get this horse going. You see the jockey's having his arms pulled out of his sockets there.
Definition of a quiet trial, isn't it?
Quiet trial. Yeah, had nowhere to go and just cruised in behind him. So I thought that was a good effort from Crest to Crystal.
Now, this is obviously called the eye catchers, this segment of the show. For me, the eye catcher for the whole show is this one here, Kiwi Raider. I was very, very impressed, Eagle.
We're trying to work out what this horse is. Is she
3-year-old filly, I can tell you that part if you're having trouble there.
But more importantly, is she having a lend, Ed? Is she having an Ivan Lendl of us? Because she can look good at the trials and doesn't actually follow it up on race day. But I thought it was really interesting that Mark Zara had a sit on this filly, and you see she just wanted to get in behind there, got a little bit keen. Once she got out, she just sprinted past him, and I'm not sure she beat much in this jump out, but it was impressive work. And look, she's a per Encanto. They can get hot, and she was a ready to run by. And sometimes those ready to run bys can take a little bit of time to settle. They're zooped up for the sale and then, a little bit highly strung. So she might have just come into her own. I think she's one you've got to keep close, at least.
Kiwi Raider. All right, one to put into the Blackbook on your Racing.com app. Time for a break. We'll have a look at some horses who are ready to go when we return. It's great to have your company on this edition of the Trial Show. All right, Glenn, who are we following up? Who are horses that are ready to go, ready to strike when we see them at the races?
Yeah, get your wallets out. We're going to have a look at a couple of horses here from Echuca, both from the Ben Brisbane stable. Grinzinger Heart now did have the pattern in its favour. Let's put that on the table first, but was able to win a Group 2 size produce last start at $41, if you don't mind. Bit of a kick in the guts for the punters who are on the second horse, but was...
Hello, Zambales, if you're at home watching.
Yes, a lot of punters were on that horse. But Grinzinger Heart had a nice little tick over jump out. So it's in the orange and blue. It's got the Ben Brisbane nose roll. He's trying to take the Moody and Coleman theory there. But Grinzinger Heart, be interesting to see what the market does with it, Ed, because, they were quite against it there at Flemington. But
$41 that day.
Mm-hmm. So do they let it go around again? I'm not sure.
What's his right sort of race?
Great question. Actually, I wasn't prepared for that. I'll go.
Well, we'll find out. Ben Brisbane will place him soon enough. He's kept him in work. He's kept him up to the mark.
Nice, strong horse. There's a fair bit to like about him.
being by Tornado, I've always thought of them as more 1400 to mile types as well too. So he's already won over 1400. It wouldn't shock to see him get up over a little bit further.
For sure. So he's got a job to find a suitable race, but I'm sure he'll do that.
What do you think of his stablemate, Little Orlov?
Yeah, looks to have found a good race this weekend. It's going around at Cranbourne, I believe, on Friday night, a 0-62.
Race 7.
Yes, there's a couple of local trained horses in there that go okay, but look, if Little Orlov runs up to its recent jump out here at Echuca, I think it'll be right in the mix there. And look, I think he's a progressive galloper. Ed, he's got a little bit on his side. He can be a little bit soft at the end of his races, but you can see he pricks his ears and he's in a good rhythm. And you must say the Ben Brisbane horses do tend to trial well. But I think he's a horse that can find, in his right race, he can certainly be really effective. And he looks to have found that on Friday night. And I don't think there'd be too much excuses. Typically, Cranbourne plays to his sort of advantage.
Well, he won a maiden at Wangaratta at the end of his last preparation. He's had a couple of jump outs now and looked good in that one. Balestier, this is a horse who's done really well under the care of Danny O'Brien. Were there excuses for his defeat at the end of the carnival, which is just a case of lead, wind, rain, forgive that day?
Yeah, you're right. There was a bad headwind and horses like him that were up on the pace knocked up, no doubt about it. Probably end of prep as well, but I tell you, I love this guy. He's so tough. He's so genuine. He looks like he's beaten and he finds again. There's just something about him. He's a brazen bow. Typically, he's almost the opposite of a brazen bow. Sometimes the brazen bows can be a little bit soft at the end of their races, I think, but not this guy. He's really tough. And he's going to go to the races this weekend, Ed, is that right? Yeah,
the long weekend. He runs at Sandown. So I think that's the same race that we saw for your Tuve in that 1,000-metre race, sixth event on the card.
Oh, OK.
Who are you taking, by the way, then?
Oh, you'd have to take Balestier. I think D. Lane might have accepted for the ride too.
OK.
Or put his name up.
All right, well, that's always a positive sign as well. Marsette's a horse you've also wanted to elaborate on here on the trial show, Marble Arch, who's a pretty handy, pretty solid group-winning mare, features in this heat as well. Marcette, though, she's more of a progressive type of 3-year-old filly trained by Team Hawkes.
Yeah, had the 3 runs in Sydney, Ed, and I think it's a real big improver now down in Melbourne, and particularly if it strikes a wet track. Have a look at this horse go on a wet track. It's in the orange colours here. The horse to the outside is Marble Arch, and I'm not sure what to make of Marble Arch. Was Marble Arch struggling here or Marcette going really well? I mean, you can make your own mind up, but Marcette was bolting and, that horse kept coming in it and she was skipping through the ground. I reckon if they got on a wet track, they'd be really keen to run hers. But she's going to go around this weekend. She won't find a wet track, I don't think, looking at the forecast. But the winkers have come off and I think she's a progressive filly.
All right. Would you like her for Saturday? 3-year-old filly's handicap. She's in at Caulfield.
She's in a good race, Ed, I would say that. So she'll probably go around a price.
OK, you've got a high one of these. Profile is the horse we're talking about here. Also featuring at the Werribee jump outs, the VRC jump outs that took place at Werribee. Was it just as simple as you like the grey and the wet?
Yeah, well, you could go that theory. I mean, I haven't seen the numbers, but plenty of people talk about it. And Profile got the blinkers on here. This is another horse similar to Marcep's, come down from Sydney, had the 1 run there. It's now with Team Hayes and got the blinkers on it and loved the blinkers. And I think they're blinkers. Are they blinkers? Or are they... I'm not sure now.
Certainly got the headgear on.
No, it's headgear. But Profile, if he strikes a wet track, look out for him. He ran pretty slick time. Although, you look at the horses behind it, they weren't trying to go too hard there.
So they're the horses that we've got marked as ready to go. We've seen some old friends earlier. Who are the fresh faces for this edition of the trial show, Glenn Ingram?
Yep, the new kids on the block, fresh faces, whatever you want to call it. Now, have a look at this heat here. This is a horse called Santa Barbara. It's a Schnitzel filly, and look, just a sneaky quiet trial, this one. Moody and Coleman, he's got the full range of crayons here. He's got the white, the yellow, the red, the blue and the purple.
He is the mayor of Pakenham. These are his jump outs.
These are his jump outs, and have a look at how hard they're ridden out too, all of them. Given searching gallops here, Ed. And Santa Barbara's the one that caught my eye late. It's a Schnitzel filly in the green. And I did like its first jump out. It was sort of cruising up behind them late. I think it's a filly that's got a bit of scope. So, it's pretty hard to pick them out of that. But I thought Santa Barbara looked the pick of that group for mine.
No, but her work to and through the line was very good there. She's well bred too, as you say, by a schnitzel from there in good health. Let's go to Bella Verona next of all as far as our fresh faces are concerned, and we make our way back to the Caulfield Heath. She's a 3-year-old filly. She's by Castelvecchio, so you can imagine that she'll like to get over a bit of ground. She's also trained by Matt Laurie. She's had plenty of work at the jump out, 6 of them overall to this preparation.
Yep, students of the trial show would recall that this horse was on the show last year.
My memory doesn't stretch back that far, Glenn.
Jumped out on the back straight at Caulfield, I believe it was, and pretty good jump out too. Although the form around those jump outs weren't overly strong, so that'll be my one query when it goes to the races. But I think Bella Verona's got a bit of talent. And it's in the right stable, isn't it, with Matt Laurie to be winning on debut. So I like the way Bella Verona's going. That's her coming down the outside. She had the winkers on.
Yep, given a solid tune-up as well, a solid head out to win there. Gleamstone we're going to go to next of all. Why have you picked out Gleamstone for us, Glenn?
I thought this was one of the best jump outs of the week, actually, out at Werribee. Well, look at this guy. It's a Almanzor, Ed, and it's bought out of New Zealand Ready to Run sales, and they paid $700,000 for it. Big, strong colt, and very likeable too. Look at the way he gets to the outside. He's now with Team Hayes. He's in the white jacket, black cap. Big, strong horse. Flew down the outside. Really good jump out from the third horse, I thought too, who he goes past. It's in the white with the red armbands, orange cap. It stuck on okay. It wasn't asked to do as much as the winner, but the winner looks good, Ed. Like the way he's going. Gleamstone.
Yep. Had 2 jump outs. That's the latest of those for the 2-year-old colt. How well is Cindy Alderson going, by the way? And we've had a bit of a joke sometimes about Jigsaw, the fact that we might have suggested he couldn't win certain races. He's continued to prove us wrong, as is Cindy, and we're wrapped for her. But as good as Jigsaw is, he is getting on a little bit. She's got a nice young horse coming through, Glenn.
Yes, she's been our nemesis, Cindy, but happy for her. But I think she might have found a nice filly at the jump outs here called Soundbites by Microphone. Logan Bates rode in this jump out. Now, for reference, we've been talking about the horse up front, Anea, who was on the show last week. It's a Satono Aladdin, 2-year-old, white baldy face, navy and white halves, black cap. It's widest on the turn. It's able to win another jump out. It's just a forward-going 2-year-old, looks ready to go to the races. They didn't pay a lot for that, $60,000. But have a look at this filly in the blue sleeves, white jacket, black cap behind it. Look at the way it's able to finish off this work. It's a filly by Microphone. I think they paid $16,000 for it.
Hence the name Soundbite.
Soundbite, yep, well named. And just doing its best work late. And then if you follow it through the jump out here, this is only its first career jump out. It was really strong late. So, yeah, I think they might have found a nice horse there.
Yep, striking work there from Soundbite. We're going to take a break. When we return on the trial show, Glenn's going to tell you who's going to win the Doncaster. Almost time to wrap things up on the trial show, but we've got a couple of star-studded horses that we wanted to show you. Let's begin with the horse that is the raging hot $2 favourite for the Doncaster Mile this Saturday at Randwick. Sheza Alibi. Fascinating to see what they've done with her. She didn't have the ideal start to this preparation. They had to push things back a little bit for her. It hasn't been an issue for her at all. She was breathtaking at Caulfield. She was superb in winning the Randwick Guineas. Rather than keep her in Sydney, though, they've brought her back to Melbourne. Jamie Mellum, who rides her at the 49 kilos on Saturday, getting a feel for her in this jump out.
Yeah, interesting that they did that, isn't it? They brought her back.
There'd be plenty of others that would have stayed there.
Oh, absolutely.
In Sydney.
And left it with someone else. But I guess when you've got a filly of this quality, and you want to be across everything, don't you? And Moody certainly that, and Kath Coleman as well. And she's Alibi, given a really cruisy jump out, just cruising on bolting. She's all the talk, obviously with Autumn Glow not taking its place in the race. So lovely little jump out. She looks to be ticking over beautifully.
For Doncaster, I think there's a few hopes in the race, but generally speaking for mine, there's a bit more depth to a Doncaster than what we've got this year. Has she scared a few off? Is she the one to beat?
Clearly the one to beat. Has drawn wide out on the track. I'm not sure that's going to hurt her chances. I think sometimes if you're on the best horse, maybe you don't mind being a little bit out wide and clear running and all that sort of stuff.
Well, they've got such a long run as well, too, around 600 metres or so to the first turn at Randwick. So I don't think wide barriers and a Doncaster are such an issue. For mine, I thought if I was having a little each way on the race, and the Doncaster's a great one for that. Autumn Boy in 60s is also down on the minimum. I thought the Waller horses could run 60s. Very well.
Yeah, well, the last time you gave me a tip was it in the Hong Kong Derby, Invincible Ibis. Got up at $6. So thanks for that, Ed.
Good.
Might have something on 60s at the big price.
I'm glad I've done something right by you, Glenn Ingram. Let's move along. Oak Hill. This is a sprinter who's been a pretty solid horse right throughout his career. Won 2 starts ago in the Group 2 Rubiton. Then last time out, he failed in the Oakley Plate, only beat a couple home. He runs in the Country Discovery on Friday, a Ballarat, the feature race on their Good Friday fixture.
He loves a bit of cut in the ground. This is his sort of stuff, Oak Hill. I'll tell you what he did do, Ed, is he behaved himself. He's got a life ban with me. I can't back this horse because he let me down one day at Moonee Valley, and he carried on out the back like a Brumby, and I was just like, no, never again with this guy. But if he's in the mood, he's right up to it. And that was a lovely jump out from the winner too, Deep Float Diva, who's come across from Adelaide. But Oak Hill go around that race on Friday, and he'd be a good chance.
Is it a slight concern with him? He was slow out in the Oakley Plate. He was a fraction slow out in that jump out, and jump outs obviously do go that little bit slower. Is that a concern, the start for him?
Possibly, yeah, good question. Ballarat, can you make up the ground? You can, if it's not too firm. I'm sure they'll have the turf there in good order. And certainly a good chance on Friday at Oak Hill.
All right, we've had our entrees and main courses here on the trial show. What are we putting in alongside of our Easter eggs in the fridge to have a nibble at next time around? Yeah,
we're going to have a look at a horse called Sun Setting, Ed. I thought this was a fantastic jump out, actually. Probably one of the better ones of the week alongside that 2-year-old over at Werribee. And Sun Setting, for me, I just saw this jump out, Ed, and dare I say it reminded me of Jimmy Starr down at Cranbourne. Hope I haven't put
Don't say that.
Yeah,
don't say that.
I'll put the handbrake on. Sorry to the connections, but lovely jump out. And this is the sort of horse I think can go to Adelaide and be really effective over those sprint trips for mares, 4-year-old mare, something over 1,100. She taps out about 1,200, but she looked in good order alongside a horse that goes well called Punch Lane from the Freedmans.
She's on a rating of 72, so she might have a few rating points in hand. That's the show virtually done and dusted. Here's a condensed version of it. Eagle, who's got your tick of approval?
Well, obviously, Sheza Alibi, the Doncaster favourites in peak form, coming off that lovely little jump out. Options, I think he's an exciting colt, Ed. He's going places. We'll see him at the races shortly. Sun Setting, I thought, one of the better jump outs of the week. And Oak Hill, if he's on his best behaviour at the... he was on his best behaviour at the jump outs. If he carries that to the races on Friday, he'll be in the mix as well.
All right. Now, time for you to get off the fence. Give us something strong to finish up with. What's the bold statement?
The bold statement this week is Sheza Alibi to win by +2 lengths.
+2 lengths.
So I'm giving you a margin. Take it. Hopefully there's something offering.
I will. Happy Easter. Hope you get plenty of eggs.
Thanks, Ed. You too. Good luck.
We'll see you next time here on The Trial Show.